I have a thank you to everyone for all your wonderful messages. It's so much fun for me to see what you all think of your old principal. And then I have to apologize because I watched the latest, what do we call it?
Video.
And number one, it looks like I'm suffering from terrible indigestion. And the other thing is that I'm breathing like I have asthma, which I do, but I have to be more aware of those kind of things because I don't want you to be annoyed by my idiosyncrasies.
And your eyes.
And my eyes, yes. Anyhow, I thought today we would chat about one of my favorite co-workers in Ocean Township, the school nurse, Ruth Dallin. Ruth passed away, I would say, 2 or 3 years ago. But let me tell you something about her. She was a registered nurse, married to a physician, had 3 daughters, and worked as a school nurse in Elizabeth, New Jersey. And then she and her husband moved down to Deal Road area. I guess that's West Deal. And she applied for a nurse. Now, when she applied for a nurse, I had just been appointed principal of Oakhurst School. And Mr. Reyes also needed a nurse for the new Wayside School. So we did our interviews together. And we came down to 2 applicants. One, I think, Miss Palmieri and Ruth Dallin. And he said to me, since you're the new principal, I'll let you choose first. They weren't there, of course. This was after the interviews. Well, I wasn't sure what I was doing as principal, so I might as well choose someone with a lot of experience. So that's why I chose Ruth Dallin, and I never regretted it. Might be interesting, that was 1969. Ruth Dallin was the first African-American certificated teacher that we ever hired in Ocean Township. I think that's interesting. And I'll tell you something about that. When she was, I think it was October, and a service organization in Asbury Park used to invite children who got free lunch to a Christmas party and give them presents, which was all very nice. And they did it through the nurse because the nurse kept those records. So Ruth Dallin receives a call from a lady, and she says, you don't know me, but I represent this auxiliary, and would you send me a list of the children and their address who are on free lunch, and we'll invite them to the Christmas party. And Ruth said, well, I'll have to ask the principal first. Well, she said, Mr. Rasp always gave us the list. So she said, well, as I said, I'll have to ask the principal first. And then the lady goes on to say, now, we don't invite blacks, she said, because they have their own group that gives them a party. Of course, the poor woman didn't know who was on the other end of the phone. Ruth came up to the office and she said, I'm not making any judgments. I'm just telling you exactly what happened. I thought, oh my God, what happened? She told me the story. I said, give me the lady's phone number. Well, I left it in the office. She said, well, I finally got the phone number, and I called this lady, and I said to her, thank you for the invitation, but will not be participating. Well, Mr. Rasp always participated. I said, that may be, but we are not. Well, is there a reason? So I told her my reason. Well, they do have their own. They do have their own party. I said, you know what? We don't separate. I don't think there was a Native American. I don't mean Native American. African American in the school. I don't think we had any at that time. But I said, all the students are the students of Oakhurst School, and we don't separate them because of eye color, skin color, religion, or anything else. And so I said, we'll not be participating. Well, that afternoon I get a call from the superintendent. He said, what did you say to the so-and-so? I told him. Oh, he said, I've only gotten calls from 3 Board of Education members complaining that this lady complained to them that you're not cooperative. So he said, we've always done it in the past. I said, not from Oakhurst School, we won't. Oh, I did a lot of things like that. One time, Jimmy Carter was president, and they sent around a notice. I was to walk as principal into the rooms of Oakhurst School and tell them every 4th room how many African Americans, how many Caucasian, how many Aleutian Islanders. I wouldn't do it. I said, no, I'm not going to do it. That time, James Hartnett was the assistant superintendent, and he called me and said, you have to do it. We won't get any federal funding. I said, well, then you come over and do it, because I'm not going to do that. Well, after that, the Department of Education sent him, it was my fault, every single survey. They just chose different groups. And he was so mad at me because I got him into trouble and he had to do a lot more work. But I wasn't going to do it. Now, Ruth Dallin was a wonderful teacher and a wonderful nurse. And I'll tell you, the first year I was principal, I think it was the first year, maybe not. And one of the students fell down the steps, hurt his arm,
Pushed.
and I took the youngster down to the nurse, and she said to me, his wrist is broken. Oh no, I said, I don't think so. She said, his wrist is broken, you're on your way to the hospital. All right, I said, and sure enough, Richard Vineburg's wrist was broken. It was the first youngster who got seriously hurt when I was the principal of Oakhurst. And the one good thing about it was I didn't have to deal with an irate parent. See you again soon. Bye.